Yo, John Fitch here. John Fitch Knows Nothing, episode 18, I believe. It is World, not just National, World Diabetes Day. So, let's talk a little bit about diabetes, I think. Play a little tune. Welcome you guys in. Start the morning off right. I'm feeling happy. I feel sad. I've lost the best friend that I've ever had. She was my woman. I love her so. But it's too late now, I've let her go. She's got a hoe. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. Shared each day and love together. We found a way, but soon the world had its evil way. My heart was blinded, love went astray. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. It took so long to realize, and I can still hear her last goodbye. My days are filled with tears and beers. Wish I could go back and change these years. You can't. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. Yeah, get it. Diabetes, man. Diabetes, like World Diabetes Day. First off, there's two types of diabetes. Type B, type 1, which is just something that you're born with. It just happens. And it's very low probability of it happening. It's not very common. And then there is a type 2, which is usually bad diet is associated with that the most. And you can see this in countries that don't have like the Western shitty diet with a lot of sugar and artificial fake sugar stuff. They don't have as high of cases of diabetes. But I don't know, I was just looking for like some basic world stats and stuff on diabetes, and I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was peculiar just going through and trying to find some info on this. So let's go to the first one here that I found. All right, countries with the highest number of diabetics worldwide, 2017. It seems like normal upfront type reporting, but it's man, it's kind of painting a picture. I want you to notice, guys, like it has the U.S. here. We're number 3 on this chart with the most of people. That's just number of people. So it's like, oh, well, yeah, the U.S. doesn't look that bad. But the size of the other countries, like their populations, are ginormous. So like they just tell you the number. They don't tell you the percentage, right? 114.4. I don't know what that's a number of. I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands or number of diabetics in millions. Okay. So yeah, so China has what, 1 billion people? So 10% of their population. India's ginormous. So to me, this feels like it was one of the top results in the search. It's like they're trying to make people not feel bad for us being more diabetic than a lot of other places. Right? Is this part of the body positivity thing that we ignore health crises, or we try to cover them up, or we mask them? Because this kind of gives you the impression that, oh, well, we're not that bad. We're only third with 30.2 million diabetics. But that's out of 350 million. I don't know what India's population is. China's like, what, 1 billion or something crazy? If they're telling the truth. So I thought that was a bit odd how they put that there. But moving on, I found another one here. Yeah, I think this is better. All right, so this is popular. Well, it's not that much better. It's the population, right? Population, percent of population ages 20 to 79 in diabetics. So, I mean, it's cutting off the kids too. We have a lot of diabetic children, tons of diabetic children, and I think that is going to change that percentage. I think it's going to skew it because we have so many children that are diabetic also. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, you see these numbers, and like they're like really small countries. So yeah, countries are like 50 guys, and they're all eating shit diet, and then 25 of them, or a quarter of them, get diabetic. Like again, it feels like they're throwing up so much information, they're drowning out. And making it seem like, oh, it's not so bad. But yeah, the U.S. doesn't pop on here until 43 with, I think it's 10.79% of our population in 2017. Great Britain, I know some of you guys are Brits. Fish and chip culture has you at like 160, I think. Yeah, 160. You're tied with Rwanda. He has a 4.28, which I was a little bit surprised. I thought, United Kingdom had some fatties over there, but I think you guys just drink a lot of beer. Fish and chip culture. It's not the sugar as much as we are. I don't know. So this also just seemed, I don't know, it just seems odd that it was one of the top search results. Am I looking for conspiracy theories, maybe? Maybe that's the problem is. What's that thing when you start looking for patterns, you try to find patterns when they don't exist? Maybe that's what I'm doing. But it seems odd. But then I did find some good info here from the Endocrine News. And yeah, they're saying U.S. Leads the developed nations in diabetes prevalence, which means we are the fattest. USA, USA, USA. We are the most diabetic of all of the first world countries. And you know what? I think we probably started this and spread it out. Right? Like the more we get our food and culture into other places, the fatter they get because we're just like all about the body positivity, even though it's going to kill you with diabetes. Yeah, man. 30 million. So all these numbers are lining up. 10%-ish, 30 million people, type 2. And then they lump them together, too. I think that's strange. that's always, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Why not put an actual list up just for type 1 and just a list for type 2? Right? Because I think it would be interesting to see. I think most of those type 2 diabetes, it's a bigger percent of that 10% is type 2. I would be willing to bet. And there's an interesting stat right here. Some 75% of the people with diabetes live in low-income and middle-income countries. Right? Every 6 seconds, there's a diabetes-related death. Oh, man. So, poverty and diabetes also seem to run hand in hand. Right? So, is there something going on here? They're trying to make it not seem like as big a deal. They want to treat it. They have a World Diabetes Day, but they're also, it seems like they're controlling the scope of the talk. They're talking about cures a lot. They're talking about treatment, but what about prevention? Where's all the talk on prevention? Why isn't there light shining on the cause and why people are getting diabetes and type 2 diabetes? It's like they put all the pieces up there, right? Low income, yeah, man, the 10 nations with the lowest estimated rates of diabetes globally are all in Africa. This is partly due to their higher prevalence of diseases and lower life expectancy. Okay, so the Africans get diabetes less because they die faster, and they have so many other horrible diseases. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, man. Oh, at least they put this here. As rates of type 2 diabetes increase in many countries around the world, we urgently need preventative action. Ah, there we go. Dr. Petra Wilson. Petra, I bet he's probably an Indian dude, and he's based, I bet. Yep, the IDF. Is that the Israeli Defense Federation? The IDF is asking governments to lead the way by creating healthier environments, implementing fiscal policies on healthy food, and using the revenues generated to help prevent and manage, manage all types of diabetes. Okay. So, Petra Wilson, you're doing a great job. Keep it up, man. Don't get Epstein. Don't get Clinton for speaking truth. That's my daily conspiracy theory for you peeps. Hope you enjoyed. Uh-oh. I gotta go through and make sure that all of the comments are shown so I don't miss any of them. Well, what do you guys think about diabetes? You guys have diabetes? Anybody have diabetes? Am I missing anything here? Is this kind of a cover-up? Floodland says, I was never friends with diabetes. TJ's in the house. Floodland also says, and diabetes was never my friend. That's good. Boxer One says, I don't know what the diabetes is, but we should send Herschel Walker here to deal with it. He would probably be a great representative of prevention of diabetes. Of course, I don't think most people want to do the push-ups and sit-ups that he does. Phil Baroni says, I told you not to at your engagement party. I was the only one who had your back. Phil says, love is horseshit. Yeah, Phil told me not to get married. Told me not to do it. Phil said, no such thing, man. It is, come to Thailand, I got you. I'm doing good, Phil. I'm doing good. But, yeah, I mean, I've Yeah, there's a lot more biology involved in relationships, guys, than magic. That's the thing. It's like we're all sold this lie of magic. It's magic. You have your one true love partner out there for you. It's magic. It's not saying that it's not wrong to pair off with somebody you get along with and create an empire, a family. That's fine. But yeah, don't be jumping into situations because of magic. Boxer One says, did my dissertation on diabetes. Oh, so Boxer One is an expert. What do you have to add to the conversation? Floodland says, in New York City, I think Mayor Bloomberg tried to ban large sodas. I'm serious. Yeah, they were trying to tax, and they tax them now, I think. But, I mean, that's not the way. Like, you need to educate people. You know? I mean, I don't know. You need to educate people. About things and incentives. There needs to be incentives. I guess. I mean, I understand. I guess I can understand a soda tax. I guess because you're increasing healthcare costs because you're clogging up the system with your self-induced sickness, right? You didn't have to get diabetes. You didn't have to get type 2 diabetes. It sucks that we have, all these foods that make it so easy to get. It's like it's a race you didn't want to win. Phil says, have AIDS in India. China blows, man. Place size. Yeah, I'm not. I have no need or feeling that I need to get to India anytime soon. That's not on my list at all. Okay, nothing personal with India or Indians. Or just, I don't know. It seems dusty. I feel like it would bother my sinuses. And Boxer One says, I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, and a king. Awesome. That is what we're trying to do here, man. We're trying to start the new renaissance. The renaissance of masculinity. You in, Phil? You in? Guys, let's do it. Phil says, you want to have diabetes if you lived in China. What? It's like the Western diet hit over there, and it's getting bad in some places, diet-wise. Boxing MMA says, China is a bad way stat-wise. Oh, China's in a bad way stat-wise. Yeah, and, China's got all kinds of issues. China is a problem, and they have lots of problems. But at the same time, we don't know shit about what's going on there. They have such control over information. They're like breeding human hybrids. Isn't that what Alex Jones was talking about? Phil says, China sucks, man, filthy. I went to Macau. I was not impressed. I didn't like Macau. But I don't need to see China. Like, I don't want to go to the communist place where they throw people in concentration camps, and there's got to be a lot of ghosts in China. If ghosts exist. And Box One says, and many, many more pre-diabetic children, kids whose blood glucose levels are almost at the level of being diabetic. Dang. All because of parents, fed them shit. Let them eat sugary food and chips, candy, big gulps, energy drinks. Come on, people. Be better parents. Excuse me. That's why we can't have nice things like healthcare. free healthcare. Urkham1 says, I love Fitch. Everyone should. Dana sucks. Yep. Let's preach to the choir, buddy. Kurt says, Happy World Diabetes Day. Yep, I don't know how that goes. Do you eat cake? Do you eat cake on is that the appropriate celebration? Happy World Diabetes Day. I got a cake. Or is it ice cream cake? Ice cream cake with extra, like, whatever. Whipped cream from the can, right? Is that the appropriate way to celebrate the day? AdBoxer1 says 160 brat. We on that Rwanda level. Plus, we don't eat as much fish and chips as you think. Kind of racist of you, to be honest. The big thing is portion sizes and prices. The USA ratio is crazy. It's true. It's racist to call England a fish and chip society. Oh, are you deeply offended? Is that it? You're gonna turn off the computer now. Oh, I know what you should do. You should make an hour-long documentary about how I'm not funny and I'm racist towards English people. and then hate post on Reddit all day, every day about it. Sounds like useful energy expenditure. Kurt says, my hometown of St. John, New Brunswick, was named fattest city in Canada and most likely to be sexually assaulted in 2008. Great combo. Oh, man. That's a strange, man. It went from, maybe that was a defensive mechanism, right? There was so much sexual assault in 2008, everybody got fat. And I was like, I don't want anybody to assault me, so I'm gonna take myself out of the pool. Or is there like a serial chubby chaser who's out there harassing and sexually assaulting thick with 3 C's. Oh my goodness. AdBoxer1 says Japan portion sizes are even smaller, lower rates of diabetes. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with Whole Foods also. I think one of the problems we have here in America is corn syrup. Okay? And corn syrup is used in everything. And one of the reasons is because of the money the government gives corn farmers, right? They're guaranteed, they get that, well, I can't remember what it's called, but they get that money. They get that socialized money. It's a form of socialism. So they prop up this industry. They think, oh, this industry's doing good. Let's make sure it stays doing good and we'll throw money at it. And that always fucks everything up. It's not good. So then they get all this excess surplus of corn and they're like, we got to do shit with it. It's here. So they make corn syrup and they put it in everything. Even if it doesn't need it, they just sprinkle it everywhere. A little more corn syrup, a little more corn syrup in your soda, a little more corn syrup in your steak, your milk, I don't know, wherever they can put it. And then you're slammed with this sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and it turns your belly into jelly. And you get the beatus. You get the beatus, the diabetes. Diabolical. They both have dia in them. Coincidence? I think not. Rickham. You need a more appropriate screen name. It's too hard to say. Rickham 1. You really need me to say that? 3 R's, 3 K's, and then 3 M's. 1. Okay, thank you. Aspen versus Fitch. Well, if we had free agency, Dramatic Elephant, what's up, dude? Boxing, MMA says Ireland isn't in it. We must have the drinking records instead. I saw Ireland on one of the things. I already closed those windows out, but Ireland was there somewhere. So do they sometimes refer to with Ireland and lump them in with the United Kingdom? Rickham says there's no way McGregor beats Fitch. Never. I'm not an old man or a woman he's assaulting. Ooh. Enigmatic Elephant says, I've heard caloric restriction improves longevity. Also, Greg Doucette says you can cut down on calories and still make gains as long as you hit protein. I think that's accurate. I think that's accurate. Because I've weight class sports. I've never been a big supporter or believer in like bulking, like just eating a bunch to get fat, and then that's gonna help you put on muscle. I think as long as you're getting the nutrients you need to build the muscle, that's all you need. I don't know if you need the extra fluff. I don't know. And then you're cutting the fat up and down a little bit. That's yo-yoing. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. But I'm no expert, that's for sure. Kurt says they use this to push veganism, so kids end up weak and with low hemoglobin. You were vegan, correct, and went back because of health reasons? I felt I got too small. It was too much work, for one. Like, the amount of food you had to eat, and the amount of prep, it just took a lot of time. We had kids, a kiddo, so extra work with food, it wasn't cutting it. I had my workouts to do, and I couldn't eat all day long like that. I needed time to rest, but then I also started getting small and deflating, and then I started getting injured. So it was just, it was not good. It was not a good scenario. I don't think I was lifting. I wasn't lifting at the time either. I'd still taken some time off of lifting, so I think I didn't have that resistance training with me either to keep the muscles pumped. Whereas with just eating meat and doing my usual stuff, it was enough to maintain. But yeah, it could be pushing this veganism, which I think all this veganism and stuff is really an effort to push people, because it's not they're trying to get a bunch of farms and Whole Foods and that type of stuff. I don't think that's what they really want. I think they want processed. I think it's one eating processed shit. They want us eating bugs and processed shit, right? So you get the bar, the protein veggie bar, and you eat that. I think that's what they want, because that's easier to produce. They can make more money off of that and store it longer. Yeah. Rickham says diabetes sucks. Eat raw. That's right. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. ODB. You didn't know he was talking about broccoli, did you? He was. Baby, I like it raw or steamed. That box one says, haha, Phil Baroni, the voice of wisdom. He's the sensei, the relationship sensei. Call and contact Phil for all of your relationship questions. At box one says, hey, Phil Baroni, do you like Yoel Romero? Rickham says, I think Bloomberg was right because people are stupid. They are. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like taxation is theft. On one side, like I have two buttons. People are stupid and they need an incentive not to kill themselves with soda. Like, I don't, that meme where the guy's like sweating, he doesn't know which button to push in the emergency. Like, I don't know which one to push. Like, taxation is theft, or people are stupid and need incentives not to kill themselves with soda. It shouldn't have to be just a choice. Dramatic Elephant, I failed so hard on veganism. LOL, felt awful. Yeah, it was like 2 days. We tried. It's good. Boxing MMA says people who are poor eat crap food and snacks, and that could be a factor in the spike in diabetes. Yeah, and like I think it's a definitely spike into it. They're eating bad food. They're eating shitty food. But it's just excuse me. Eating clean, eating healthy is not expensive, right? You can get pretty far on, some veggies, some broccoli. You can buy a 2-pound bag of broccoli for like $10. You got your veggies, and then you can have rice. You can buy a big, huge 50-pound bag of rice that'll last you years, and you can eat eggs. You might even be able to put a chicken or two in your back of your house, something like that. If you eat that all the time, you can get pretty far. You can save a lot of money and get pretty far. Not get diabetes. Not have to have all these healthcare problems. It's not exciting. It's not luxurious or whatever. But like, you get to live. You get to be alive and save money while you work towards making yourself better, and then you can make more money, and then those eggs turn into steaks, and the rice. Well, the rice still just is rice. Maybe get some fancy potatoes, some kind of fancy Japanese yam in there with some butter, some like grass-fed, free-range butter. You got to work your way up, man, step by step. I was eating, it wasn't healthy, but I was eating ramen noodles and eggs pretty much every meal. I didn't put the seasoning stuff in it because that was the bad stuff. I had the noodles, the egg, and then some sriracha. That was what I ate. I did that for like years. It wasn't the best, but that's what I could afford. Excuse me. Oh, Boxer One says Fitchments. The Fitchments, is that the comments? The Fitchments or Fitchevements? Those are like Fitch achievements, Fitchevements. Fitchments. Fitch mints. You put it in your mouth. This has a masculine flavor. Soft what's up, bro? He says UK food sucks though. LOL. Yeah, that's why you guys drink so much booze, so you don't have to taste the food. Is that Reese's too? And Boxer One says me and Softum were never friends. So you like the food there? You love the food? Jason Peterson says CM Punk is back in WWE. Is that a good thing? Are people happy about it, or what? It's all just they're turning it all one thing. That's all it is. It's just you're gonna have them running this. It's just entertainment. It's just entertainment for UFC, and then they're gonna go into like a revolving door type thing where they bounce to WWE to the UFC, right? And they're all going to be managed by whatever MWE, William Morris Agency. Is that who they are, right? WME, yeah. Who owns UFC and probably manages most of the people in the WWE. Jason Burma says, once had a lady friend fly into the States from the UK and stay with me for a week. She was astonished by the portion sizes and the variety of liquor at one of the many booze shops here. Yeah, America! Ah, America! Fucking do it. It's the greatest country on earth. Diabetes. We got it. Floodland says, alternate theory on type 2 diabetes. Ooh, okay, let's get this. He says that when you have a lot of fat, cholesterol, LDL, it coats your cells. The cells then can't reuptake sugar to use for energy. The sugar stays in the bloodstream. Ooh, interesting. Sean Tobin says, howdy, Fitch and biatches. LOL. How goes? What's up with the uber low volume? I'm blasting this on my phone at full volume. I can't hear a thing. Oh, is it low? You guys hearing low volume? I don't know. I feel like all my knobs are turned in the correct direction. Jason Peterson says, are you okay? You seem sort of sick. I had wine. I had wine Wednesday. Yep. Ropes and Reds. So I've got a little bit of wine brain. Wine brain, I think it's a thing. Evan says, hey John, I have been a fan since your UFC days. I admire you. Thanks, bro. Thanks for stopping by. Amatic Elephant says, yeah, he's anti-bulking. Says it's not needed to build muscle. Also, if bulking is required to build muscle, why are you so stacked after cut? Oh, well. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've always been like whatever on the bulking thing. I've never really thought about it, but that's partly because I'm a wrestling and fighting like weight class sports, so like I always want to be in a certain weight range, right? I'm trying to maximize my muscle while maintaining a certain weight range. I think consistency is key, man. Consistency is king. Consistency is key. Like you need consistency. Lift consistently, and you'll put on size. Eat consistently, and you'll put on size. Yeah. Jason Peterson, are you pro or con circumcision? I'm personally con. I'm circumcised. I have my boys circumcised. I don't know. I just like the way it looks. I think I'm faster, more streamlined. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't remember having it done. I know there's sometimes accidents that could happen. But I don't know. I feel like it's an aesthetic that rich people could afford to have done. Right? First world type of thing. And then now it's kind of shamed. Or it's my theory, it's my conspiracy theory on this. It's being shamed kind of now because you have this like tear down the old structures, flip everything upside down. So they want to make it cool to not be circumcised. It's cooler to be not circumcised than it was to be circumcised. They're trying to flip it. So like whatever, like I don't know, it's like a piece of fashion. I like fake boobs, but I also like real boobs. You want to do it, go ahead and do it. I guess, as you're an adult, I don't know if you'd want to do it, because why are you going to take some time off to have something cut from your penis? So, I don't know. Is there a lot of people who are like, I'm so pissed that I got circumcised? Like, are there people who are like having plastic surgery of some sort to have like it reattached? Can you take like a skin graft from your ass and then have them put it back on or something? Is that a thing that people are doing? So I don't know. It's kind of one of those like weird arguments. Who gives a shit? Honestly, if it's not hurting, it's not really hurting anybody. Like, what's the percentages that there's a mix-up and something happens and they cut too much off? Or, I know it does happen, but what's the percentages of that? Is it enough to care? Is it more or less than the things that happen as a result of breast surgery or something? I think it's also interesting that that's a heated debate. People will talk about oh, it's a child. You shouldn't do that to a child. You shouldn't do that to a baby. But the same people who are arguing that are like, fucking abort the kid, murder it. like you can kill it up till what's coming out. Like death to babies. They're not babies. They're not human. Fetuses aren't human. But if it comes out and you touch his penis, oh, fuck you. That's that incongruencies. There are incongruencies there that I don't really quite get. But, I know nothing. Box 1 says the elephant, what video? I'm interested. Yeah, you gotta post things. Enigmatic Elephant says, gain muscle without bulking is a calorie surplus needed. Oh, that's the video title. Box 1 said, Phil Baroni said on podcast that he was a personal trainer and husbands would pay him to train their wives and Baroni would bang them afterwards. That happens. That happens more than you would care to believe. Happens a lot. Yeah. My ex was doing a fitness competition, and her coach he was my first meal prep coach or whatever, diet coach. And he had the stories. Like, that was something that was common for him. He was like, bodybuilder guy, and then he would take on clients. And like a lot of times it's the single mothers, single wife, not single mothers, but the house mom types, right? Their husband works all day, makes money, and then they do whatever, and then they'd be getting paid. He'd getting paid to personally train them, and then he'd have sex with them afterwards. Pretty common. Softum says, Phil with that Brazzers work. TJ says, my grandma suffered with diabetes for 40 plus years. Last year, while out of country, someone took her insulin to sell it. Man, grandmother got sick. When she came back to the States, she got hospitalized. Oh, that's awful. And he says, she went into septic shock and while in the hospital had a stroke. Oh, doctors said they couldn't do anything after the stroke. Everyone was fighting, but they decided to pull her plugs. Oh, that's sad. Sorry for your loss. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Somebody stole her insulin to sell it. That's crazy. Shitty people. Jason Burma says, shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, gimme the mic so I can take it away. Rest in peace. ODB, that's right. Elephant says, Phil be having them doing the downward dog. The best ever. Jason Peterson says, BJJ coaches, trainers make much more money than MMA fighter. Yeah, because you're a coach. You have more fighters going out there winning. You get percentages of that, those fights. And then you get to do it for a longer period of time. Your fight career, for most people's fight career, is not very long. TJ says, still a lot of problems, unanswered questions, drama in the family, still stuff I have not understood on how they handled her situation, from doctors to family, everyone. Man, a lot of it is with the doctors, like they're playing, the percentages. They don't want to put effort into somebody who's old and having trouble. Like, oh, well, she's probably going to die anyways. There's a disconnect there. Like, they deal with it so much that it just becomes another number. It's very likely that this isn't going to work, so we need to move on to something else. Move on to another person. That's really sad, but I feel like there's something to that. Video guy, second gen, says, hey, John, have a great day, dude. Type 1, diabetic myself. That's a tough one. Then type 1 is the one that people are born with, I believe. I read quite a bit about diabetes a few times, but, I'm no expert. That's for damn sure. Floodland says, I like broccoli, but a lot of people would rather be sick than eat broccoli. More for me. I love broccoli. Video guy, second gen, says, can't even eat veggies like carrots if you're type 1. Ooh, there's too much sugar in them, huh? Not what they says without insulin. Wow, that's crazy, dude. Svenzia's in the house. What's up, dude? Good to see you too, buddy. Box One says, I only have ever had English food, so my standards are that never traveled across the pond yet. Ah, I see. Yeah, you don't know. You may never go back. You may not be able to eat food in your home ever again. Softum says, I like to fry veggies with olive oil and soy sauce, or just toss them in the pan with minced beef, pork. Some nutrients are probably destroy the process, but at least the taste is somewhat improved. Try coconut oil instead of olive oil. See if you like that. And maybe try something other than soy. This is a no soy zone, friend. No soy. This should be t-shirts, huh? No soy zone. I need to make more shirts. TJ Zuffa. John, looks like there was another high school shooting in Santa Clarita, California. 6 shot, but don't think any deaths. Shooter in custody. People are saying active shooter drill helped. Start wearing those Kevlar outfits, people. Take away the incentive. Let the teachers carry, conceal the carry, and let people wear Kevlar. USA, USA. Jason Peterson is feeling patriotic. Oh, excuse me. Jason Peterson says guns are illegal, banned in the UK. I don't know. Adboxer 1, he's got some guns. TJ says, never mind, 1 person killed. Ooh, 1 person killed. Jason Burma says, uncut and proud. Anteater. Jason Peterson says, half Europeans colonized all the Americas. USA was colonized by UK. Canada was colonized by British and French. Mexico was colonized by Spain. Central and South America by Spain, and Brazil was colonized by Portugal. Yep, pretty much. Thanks for the history lesson. Jason Burma says, character builder to say the least. Jason Peterson says, why are Europeans the colonizers of the world? They were just first. They had better technology. Like everybody else was exploring. That's a part of masculinity. It's a part of who you are as a man. Like tribes and people all over the world explored. They looked for new land, new places, new stuff. There's always going to be that portion of people in your population that are explorers. The Europeans just had the technology sooner, and one of the arguments there is that they had the cold weather, right? They had cold weather, which in waterways, so the cold weather forced them to be more inventive. They had to come up with a lot of ways to fight against death, and then I think that led to them having better technology, better weapons, better boats, right? And they're able to conquer the sea, and they're able to colonize faster and better. Also, you know, Europe went through the Black Plague. So they had tons of exposure to terrible germs. So by the time they started coming over to the Americas and new lands, they were already, you know, pretty tough. But they were carrying a lot of that bacteria and like the bad stuff with them. And the people in the Americas and the indigenous people in the Americas were not capable to withstand those diseases. TJ says, Jason, I think even before Europeans went west across the seas, they were colonizing Asian lands. Indo-Europeans. They were trading with China. China was busy fighting with itself, it seems like, most of the time. Jason Peterson says, believe it or not, many people are against circumcision. Many people do strikes against circumcision. Circumcision is the voluntary mutilation of a newborn baby's genitals. Yeah, and people will protest that. They will go out and they will strike that. But at the same time, they will say, my body, my choice. It's okay to kill the baby. But don't cut skin off its penis. That's incongruency to me. That makes no sense. If you have both those positions, I think you're kind of wacky. It's totally okay to murder an unborn child. But the second he comes out, stay away from his penis. Stay away from that useless piece of skin. Svenzia says, let's abort 2 week 24. Jason Peterson says, Europe doesn't circumcise. Europe doesn't do a lot. Svenzia, or 35 years. Svenzia, Jews do, yeah, Jews circumcise. Catholics are supposed to too. Jason Peterson says, but you have a good point, even though I'm against circumcision. Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Like, I'm always looking for, like, why? What's the incentive? Why are people caring about this so much? Why do they care about one thing and not the other thing? Yeah. There's something off. Enigmatic Elephant says, dude, it's always a housewife. Yeah. Bored housewife. Boxing MMA says, well, he trained them women over time for free. Embrace the grind. Vincent says, morning champ filling up the Joyce Gypsy Wrestler Traveler trailer for Tussle Nationals. Awesome. Floodland says, Floodland says, we are probably more valuable, sick, more money is made off of us as they destroy our lives. That's the truth. I think that's a big part of this. They make a lot of money off of us being sick and having diabetes and treating this. And yeah. Enigmatic Elephant, I was going to ask you how the wrestling stuff is going. Vince, looks like it's going well. Spencer eats broccoli. Boxing MMA says, yeah, John, you'd make a killing touring the world giving seminars, especially in Europe. Set it up. Reach out. Email me. TJ says, John, when are you and Corey doing another show together? Next week? Yeah, he moved, so we got messed up. So I think Saturday. We'll have one Saturday morning. Jessup says, 12 watching. 15 right now. Let's get the thumbs ups. 8 likes, 0 dislikes. Jessup says, what is the biggest, largest amount of donation you have ever received? I think somebody gave me like $10 on this thing once. You guys have given me 5, 2, and 5 consistently, 250, 5 consistently. But yeah, I think something like 10. TJ Ziffa is laughing at my anteater reference. Vince says, we also pair bond more because of the last ice age as Europeans. Ooh, that could be very well true. Excuse me. Jessup says to TJ, you are correct. France colonized Vietnam. Netherlands colonized Indonesia. Spain colonized Philippines, etc. Good point. In Africa, there's a lot of colonies in Africa too, pretty much. right? Jessup, what countries did USA colonize? None. We're going to colonize space. Enigmatic Elephant says most indigenous people died via disease from colonists. That's right. Jessup, yes, the Europeans were dirty and cold, riddled with disgusting diseases. That's one way to put it, yeah. Headboxy 1, can't leave the house until I get a permit for my 2 guns. That's right, man. Floodland, maybe that extra skin is nature's condom. Maybe. Or it's, protecting you from dragging it in the dirt. Jessup says, how many of us are part of your Patreon? I don't know how many you guys are. I have 9. So you guys want to join the Patreon for $1, that would be great. That would help us out. And then you could do 5 for the techniques, and then I write a little bit on the other one, but I need to write more. Jessup says, where is everyone? Joseph Paracrampunit. Well, the time change might have thrown off some of the guys a little bit. They pop in here and there. Plus, they have school. TJ says, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a huge controversy in India, but Indo-Europeans comes from the steppes that went south into India. You'll find genetic haplogroups, European, Indian, Pakistan. Vincent Joyce says, enigmatic, what's your IG? It's balancing_fitness. There it is. It's up on the screen now. Jason Burma says, Kellogg's Corp is the reason it is done in the United States, by the way. Check it out. And circumcision and cut and unfiltered gentle mutilation. They also do not talk about female genital mutilation much either, which is weird. Why this one topic is such a big move and such a big push, but they don't talk much about the female genital mutilation at all. And in the same breath, they'll be okay with abortion. I think that's major incongruencies going on there. Kurt, if you ever come to Canada, more specifically Vancouver, my gym, Lions MMA, would love to have you. Not too far from Cali, so maybe that could happen, eh? Anything's possible. Floodland, I find it interesting that the Spanish gave their conquered their last names. The Romans did not. Maybe that's why the Roman Empire lasted so much longer. They gave people a sense of their own identity. They allowed people to be themselves still, didn't force them. I don't know. Watching now, Bubba. Jessup says, believe it or not, 2019, 2 people in China got the black bubonic plague. I think I heard about that. Jessup says the black bubonic plague came from Asia. Ooh. TJ, hey John, there are several active MMA fighters on Twitch, including Jens Pulver, Stipe, and Mighty Mouse. Have you thought about doing Twitch at all? Nah, I mean, there's so many platforms, and I don't play video games anymore, so. Jessup says, I miss when John went in the UFC, and I miss Kane too. TJ, Jens, of course, being the former UFC guy who does fight breakdowns on Twitch. Oh, I see. Enigmatic says, John doesn't game. Jason Burma says, obviously the Muslim genital stuff is much worse as it is directed at their most sensitive area, but circumcision does reduce sensitivity there, although if you have always had it done, you wouldn't know. Exactly. So if it reduces sensitivity, that means you last longer. Win for the girls. TJ says, haha, John, you should play Call of Duty with your subs. Jessup says, DC is going to retire soon and Rockhold, I don't know, and Khabib, I don't know either. Jessup says, who is the current richest MMA fighter in 2019? Conor McGregor, I think so, yeah. Makes sense if he would be. Jessup says, I know BJJ coach that charge $120 an hour for one-on-one private lessons. Wow, imagine $120 an hour. Personal trainers charging $50 an hour. Yeah, I am high end. My hourly rate is $500, but I take up to 6 people at a time. So if one person wants to have that private lesson, they can pay that, but you'll be better off finding some friends. Yeah, there's a level of exclusivity. My time is not cheap. Jessup says, but you also feel less pressure when you're circumcised. But yes, good point. Less pleasure? I wouldn't know. Pretty pleasurable for me. Jessup, how do you think the world will end? Who cares? I'd rather spend the time living. Do you believe in aliens? They more than likely exist, but I don't think we'll ever meet them or see them. Jessup, you charge $500. That's good too. Yep. Sedant, what's up, buddy? Yo, what's up, John? Have you seen Impractical Jokers? I started watching last week. I have never laughed so hard. I haven't seen it, no. Jessup, Gordon Ryan charges $600. Ooh, good for him. Enigmatic Elephant, great stream, John. Have a good one, fellas. Yep, it's time to go, guys. Jessup says Nicky Rodriguez versus Luke Rockhold and BJJ. Who you got? I don't know. I haven't rolled Luke in a long time, and I don't know over at Nicky. TJ says, hey, John, can we talk about exclusivity and how to make oneself more exclusive? Well, you just set your rates and you just don't open yourself up as much. You're going to have to be worth it for a lot of people. But yeah, I got to go. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day. I'll check y'all later. Scar tissue that I wish you saw. Saw a catch Mr. Know-It-All. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you, 'cause with the birds share, with the birds share this lonely view, and with the birds share this lonely view, and push me up against the wall, then protect a girl with a push-up bra, falling all over myself to lick your heart and taste your health, 'cause with the birds share this lonely view, and with the birds share this lonely view, and with the birds share this lonely view. Blood loss in a bathroom stall, southern girl with the scarlet draw, wave goodbye to my empire, 'cause with the birds share, with the birds share this lonely view, and with the birds share this lonely view, and push soft spoken with the broken jaw, step outside but it's not the bra, autumn sweet we can call it fall, make it to the room if I have to fall, crawl. Oh man, butchered the end of that one. Thanks for watching. I'll check you guys later.